I am Dr. Jill Coleman Wasik. I'm an associate professor at UW River Falls in the Plant and Earth Science Department. And I am running the well testing program that WWCC has been involved in for the last 5 years, and also have a couple other little projects that we're running as well. It is hard to stick with a study for a long time period, right? We kind of want those results really quickly, but I think some of what we're starting to see is in the longer term data is really interesting. You know, in that wet year that we have in our record, we kind of saw some of our nitrate concentrations tick upward in some of our wells. And now over these last couple dry years that we've had, we see a little bit of a tick downward in those nitrate concentrations in wells. So it indicates or suggests that maybe, you know, at least some of the wells in the data set are responding fairly rapidly to weather and climate, and you know, how the water is actually moving into the soils. There are a variety of factors that we look at when we're thinking about how susceptible is a well to something that might be coming from the surface. And so because we put a lot of nitrate on our landscape, nitrate is potentially moving from the landscape surface into the subsurface. And you know, one of those factors is how close is the water to the surface in a particular area. And if a well is shallower, it's indicating that the water is closer to the surface in that area. So that's one. The nitrate doesn't have very far to go to get down there, right? So that kind of makes sense. And then when you have much deeper wells, sometimes either the nitrate takes longer to get down there, or more likely that well is drawing from an aquifer where the groundwater has a much, much longer path that it's taking, right, to get down that deep and to move through that system. So it might be that the water, typically when we think about well depth, the really deep wells tend to have much older water, so they don't necessarily show these more recent trends and activities that could be impacting shallower groundwaters. A good way is just to reach out through WWCC. They have all my contact information and can get a hold of me. They can also email me directly. It's just jill.colemanwasik@uwrf.edu. So that's another way to reach out. Typically, you know, we receive updated member lists from WWCC each year, and so my interns and I go through those lists, and then we start contacting people to say, hey, we're going to come out and test your well. When would be a good time? So a couple different ways to get involved with that. Probably getting on the WWCC member list would probably be the best. Yeah.